Do musicians need to protect their intellectual property? Do they even have IP? Well, listen, I am with a very special guest today, Andrea Olson, and she is producelikeaboss.com. And we are going to give this a ton of good thought. So if you are a musician, if you get them on, it may actually save their work from AI. It might increase their influence or impact or income. Welcome to the show, Andrea.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, well, listen, you got a great husband as well. That's how we met, and basically, we've been able to be his publisher. He's got some fantastic books out, but he had mentioned in one of our strategic coach workshops, he had mentioned you and mentioned singing and songwriting, and I really try to get people in different industries who have IP. So first of all, maybe you just jump in and say, like, what is your own IP? You know, what have you done kind of in this space personally?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think you're right that a lot of people don't realize, wait a minute, my music, what I'm creating here is my IP. And so for me personally, it's started as just being a songwriter my whole life. So that's lyric, music, and then sound recording as well, right? The masters.
Wow.
Yeah. And so that's something that, I've got decades of hard drives of different music and ideas, and even voice memos. Like something we always tell our people is like constantly be taking voice memos of your little ditties that pop into your head.
Wow.
And that's all IP because we tell that's your unique sound and unique voice.
I mean, I just saw a headline. I think it was this African American young lady who said, I got a new jingle for Dr. Pepper or something. I think that was it. Maybe you're like, what are you talking about? But anyway, she wasn't even that talented, but she came up with this unique jingle and went online and posted it. And now it's turned into like some big deal.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, I have phrases in my head. I have thoughts in my head. You can actually trademark sounds. So I know that might sound interesting to some people, like what? But, we've all heard these little sounds that are part of commercials.
Yep.
And you can trademark a sound or a smell. Play-Doh is trademarked, the scent. So first of all, that's probably foreign for a lot of people. But next, let's talk about how I think really savvy musicians take their IP seriously. Case in point, 21 Pilots, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift trademarked her name before she got big, because I want to just address that, Andrea, because some people say, well, that's Taylor Swift. Look how big she is. Of course she should protect her IP, but they don't realize this quote that we say in the book. You don't protect your IP when you're big. You become big by protecting your IP. What would you say about that?
Oh, I agree 100%. And I think that a lot of times, especially musicians, because we're creatives, right? And it's more just like, I do what I feel. And I like, this is just my creative expression.
Right.
And they don't realize that there's an administrative component. And that's where my brain works a little bit differently than a lot of creatives, where I just feel like there's gotta be a administrative and business savvy on the back end. So whether that's, thinking about your, like you say, your name or your, I don't know, your domain, your website, like all the things, like your logo, the things that you put on your merch shirts and all of those things. It's like, we got to be mindful and remember that that's something you created and that's something that is valuable. So I think it's lost on a lot of people because they're so focused as artists on like getting discovered or getting signed or having, even like this Dr. Pepper thing, having something pop off. But that's actually really rare. And Taylor Swift didn't pop off either. Like she worked hard. I remember standing in a room of a whole bunch of executives in the music industry. This was 2008 or something like that. And one of the guys I was talking to did her first website. And it's like, and she wasn't even that big at that point, but they were thinking about all of these things even then before she was huge. She was working hard behind the scenes.
Yeah. I saw a picture one time that said, like, something about it had her with an outdoor music scene, and I want to tell you there was like 3 people in the audience. I mean, it was on one of these like plastic banners and it said
Hmm.
Taylor Swift, and there's like 3 people in the audience and most people aren't even listening. And, then it shows her in a picture in a stadium
Yeah.
packed out. And you don't know. Like we saw that Ed Sheeran picture too, you know?
Yep.
So I want to show this quick image because there's this young lady named Emily Raff. I'm going to
Okay.
show a picture of her here in a second so that you can see. I think I can hit entire screen, hopefully. And what I want you to do is I want you to just talk about this for a second. So you're seeing my calendar.
Yes.
That's not what we want you to see. There is this, I'm going to try to get this here, but there's this young lady who basically said, oh, I got it now. Emily. So you see her, she's here in Columbus, Ohio, but she's a singer. And you can see this?
Yep, I can.
Yeah. And what she said is, she said, oh, I think I want to use Instant IP because when I go to a show or record something, I don't know who the drummer is, or that might be a fill-in guitarist. And I'm handing them my lyrics and not everything has gone out on a record yet. So I don't know if everything's protected. And so literally we say that Instant IP is idea protection at the speed of thought. But I feel like you almost need that speed today where you don't have time when God gives you this crazy thought and you write down the lyrics. You don't have time to be like, oh, now I'm going to call up a lawyer and file an official copyright and, wait several months. Like you literally with Instant IP, you can bust out your phone, take a picture of your lyrics, press a button, 60 seconds later, it's time-stamped with blockchain technology. Like, do you think that that's helpful for musicians, songwriters, artists to have something as close as their phone that protects their ideas?
Yeah, I definitely do. And I think it comes back to, like there are a lot of, so many people out there who are independent. They're not signed by a label or a publishing company. And so they don't have an executive team like handling all of their IP, right?
Yeah.
If I write with somebody who is signed with a label and a publishing company, I know that we've got our little recording and our voice memos and whatever, but I also know that it's being registered and they're tagging me within their system and I get that notification. So it's like, okay, it's there, right? But that's a small percentage of musicians. There's millions of independent artists out there who don't have that. And so I think to have something in their pocket that's easy and it's not an administrative lift. Like you said, call a lawyer and did I do this right? We get asked that and Produce Like a Boss all the time, especially as it relates to AI. Like, what are the rules? Am I doing this wrong? Am I allowed to do this? And can I call this mine? All of those things. But I think, I think it could be really valuable because you could even probably just share your voice memo from your phone, right? Like right into it.
Absolutely. You can literally press the button and say upload file. And so now we can do video, we can do audio, we can do text, we can do pictures. If you can upload a picture somewhere, you can do it. So let's talk about Produce Like a Boss. What is it? And who knows, maybe there's even a collaboration between us and Instant IP, but what is Produce Like a Boss?
Yeah, I think there might be a collaboration. So Produce Like a Boss is a course and coaching company that helps musicians, songwriters, and producers create a full-time living out of their music business, whether they want to be a producer and just be behind the scenes, or they're a stage musician or an artist. And so what we do is we have courses, we have coaching, and we can start people from square one. We have entry level where it's like, I've never recorded anything in my life, but I'm a singer, all the way to, hey, you've got a business going, you produce proficiently, but now let's help you think about how to make it into a business and how to
Wow.
actually generate a full-time living. Because a lot of musicians and artists, they're working 2 jobs, right? Like they have their
Mhm.
9 to 5 and the music is the side passion that they really want to have it make money, but it just hasn't yet.
Wow. I like this. Wow, this is really cool. And I see you have all the way different levels. You have some free training all the way down to, memberships and these types of things. So really
Yeah.
something for everybody.
Yes. Yep, we
That's
do.
cool. So people can literally go to producelikeaboss.com, scroll down, grab a freebie. Then you
Yes.
have podcast and YouTube specials, tips, behind the scenes, courses, membership. So I think you and I started pre-show by talking a little bit about your background, but did it start really in the church with a faith, or how did your music story start?
Yeah, it did start in the church. My parents were worship leaders. And so we grew up in that environment. And it was something that, I just felt like this is a gift and a passion that God has given me. And so I pursued music all through high school and college and started leading worship after my husband, Gabe, and I got married. And it was a very, just always like a passionate part of my life, whether I was teaching piano lessons or I was writing songs. And so I was always looking for ways to refine and hone my craft after
Mm.
studying like piano performance in a conservatory. And then I did production study at Berkeley in
Wow.
Boston. And it led me to just a love of helping other people do the same. And so it started with coaching worship leaders and their teams and helping them like grow in their giftings and their skills. And now with Produce Like a Boss, it's evolved into into this with, courses and memberships for across all genres, right? It can be worship music, but also
Wow.
we have a ton of people in, rap and hip hop and singer-songwriter kind of across the gamut.
That's cool. I like that a lot. So what you might have a story, you might not, but have you ever seen any theft?
Hmm.
Like, have you ever seen any artists, musicians stealing work or hearing about that or anything?
Yeah, I would say there's not one specific story that comes to mind, but I will say that that kind of thing has created a very tight-knit culture in the music industry. So specifically, my experience has been mostly in the Christian music world, but now with Produce Like a Boss, I'm finding the same in other genres.
Mm.
And so, for example, like if you like build trust with people in the sphere in the Christian music industry, then it's like, okay, we trust you. But if you break that trust,
Mm.
you're out. It's really
Oh,
hard
yeah.
to get back
Yeah.
in because it's such a sacred thing, right? It's creative. It's my IP. I gave myself to this. And so I think because there's been theft, I think that's why it's so protected.
Mm.
And it's also why when you're in this cool tight-knit group, you can
Sure.
say, hey, anyone got a guitar player? And they can recommend, and you don't even have to hear them. If this guy recommended that guy, I'm good.
Trust.
And yeah. So I think because of the theft and the just crazy stuff that has happened to, I'm sure, way too many people, of labels taking, like, people posing as labels, taking advantage of people or taking advantage of young people, I
Yeah.
think has been a huge thing of especially the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah. So we have a guy coming to Cedarville to be a judge for entrepreneurship, but his name is DJ Code.
Hmm.
And he works with NF and other people that are
Okay.
pretty big in certain circles. Anyway, I saw on Instagram DJ Code, before I knew him, was in the room talking about how Katy Perry stole from his buddy, like literally his buddy's next to him, and they're talking about taking Katy Perry to court
Hmm.
because she had taken part of their song and put it in Dark Horse.
Yeah.
you know? So this was
Yep.
a big thing. And like these two followers of Christ are like, yeah, we didn't know if we should go to court, but you know, we weren't rude. We weren't like egregious, but we said, yeah, like there's creation there and there's theft there. So
Mm-hmm.
we need to stand up because otherwise, if you don't, it just keeps happening again. So that's what I kind of want to talk about is IP protection sometimes gets a bad rap because it's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, gee, no, there's nothing new under the sun or, you know, steal like an artist. But if you don't protect your song, your brand, your name, image, likeness, other people can misuse it
Mm-hmm.
or protect it before you do and lock you out.
Yep.
So imagine, Andrea, you come up with this beautiful song. It's about your life. It's about your painful journey. God's redeemed it. You put it out there and someone grabs it before you do, not only claims credit, but protects it and says, you can't now ever sing that song. How would you feel?
Oh, I'd feel terrible and just like so betrayed, right? Because at that point, I know the truth, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like it's like it almost feels like it doesn't matter because
Exactly.
they've taken it, they've protected it, and it just feels like that's something that came from my soul and my journey, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awful. Just
The
so
only
awful.
reason I share that story is because with writing, it happened to me.
Wow.
Like that was literally Your Secret Name book, which
Wow.
talked about my journey of self-injury and depression, and published it with Zondervan. But somebody came out and basically said, "That's my journey." And thankfully, when I confronted them in a kind way through an email, they immediately didn't acknowledge it, but it was gone the next day.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I'm passionate about this because here's what my fear is, Andrea, and this is a cool place to spend the rest of our time here. But we have this thing called AI. I mean, I'm even looking at my browser. There's AI assistant for Adobe, and ChatGPT's everywhere. And
Yep.
But you have AI, and I'm sure you get this. It's like have you ever had people in your membership group say, "Hey, I popped something in, AI, and it gave me some great lyrics, and can I now say it's mine?"
Yep.
Is that a question you get a lot?
Oh, all the time. We actually did an AI event in November specifically for that because we just were getting so many questions and granular questions, right? Like, well, what about how many words can you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, we get it all the time. And we, in the music world, I feel like we're still in the Wild West of AI, which is tricky because on one hand there's not really a ton of guidelines, but on the other hand there's not really a ton of guidelines, and so it can be dangerous. Thankfully, some of the major companies, like the major performing rights organizations, ASCAP, BMI, SOCAN, those are where you go to register your songs for royalties for live performances. So like radio, TV, film,
Sure.
That's how you're going to get paid. They came out with a stance and an official statement of like, here's what you can do, here's what you can't do, which has been really helpful for people of like, if it's mostly human generated with a little bit of ChatGPT help, that's okay. But fully. So we do. And I think at the core of it, people are just scared. They're scared that AI is going to saturate the market with all of this music that eventually kind of starts to sound the same because there's no human element. And I think, there's a lot to that, but where we landed broad scope with people is, hey, don't quit creating because AI cannot replace your story. Yes. AI can't replace like the passion that you bring to the table. And so you need to keep creating and bringing your human element. And if we rely too much on AI right now and release a whole bunch of music that's AI generated, you might get it all taken away when the laws start coming into full force. Like when they start passing laws, then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I was making good money and now it's all gone.
Or now I even have to pay damages maybe. And
Yeah.
here's why damages. Here's what so there's one thing of like, hey, somebody puts a song out that's generated by AI. Here's though what I want to share too, and maybe you can even share this with your clients. How can you say for sure that what you got as the output of your prompt is not someone else's?
Mm-hmm.
So here's a quick example. I posted this about a year ago now, and I said, hey, somebody just stole my IP. And basically what happened is this guy named Sergi, abracadabra, how blockchain is transforming intellectual property. Then word for word, it was my TEDx talk.
Wow.
So the guy literally posted my TEDx talk, and I don't know who this guy is. So I posted about it, and then check this out.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is pretty scary. He then comments, thankfully, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can.
We recently decided to use AI for the articles we write, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what happened. So he then apologized, and I said, no problem. Like you can see here, I'm totally kind with him.
Yep.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, I just want you to like not warn and freak your people out, but they might put something in and it's like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Go to claim it as their own and publish it. And really, AI didn't credit somebody's exact song.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You're exactly right. And I mean, I've even found outside the music world and just the marketing world, like ChatGPT is starting to sound derivative, right? Like you see everybody's like, elevate your experience or whatever. Like everyone's kind of getting the same marketing jargon. And so why wouldn't that be true with
Songs.
with songs? Because it's learning it's got to learn off the top 40, right?
Exactly.
And that's another whole thing of the lawsuits between some of the major labels and this company called Suno, and they did settle, but the accusation was like, hey, all your AI songs, your AI was trained on the Warner Chappell labels artists.
Sure.
So it's all derivative of theirs, but then at the same time, I think everything is like everyone's listening to the top 40 songs and kind of getting inspiration from them, but at least we're approaching it from a human side. So yeah, I think you're right that we just need to be mindful to use it as a tool, like a supportive tool for efficiency and productivity, but not as our creative.
That's what I tell people.
Tool.
I say it's a thinking partner. And, we had our own problem with Anthropic stealing 500,000 books. That was a $1.5 billion lawsuit. So like 3 of my books, I get $3,000 back each. So about $9,000 because these large language models have to train on something. And so, Anthropic was just like, 500,000 books, let's steal them all. And, and again, if they would have paid the authors, that's one thing. But then they're like, no, this is not valuable. We're using a new use case, so it's creative. Only they're being valued for billions of dollars. So they know it's valuable.
Yeah.
No, I think this is a great, just framing of everything. So I guess where we land the plane, Andrea, is regarding I know you're a creator yourself, but you also are a coach. Where do you kind of land in this whole discussion of IP? So some practical tips would be that they take themselves seriously, even if they're small and independent. What other tips would you give?
Yeah, I would say to get yourself in a rhythm of creation and then a process of protecting it after, right? Like we often create and then we just kind of toss it aside. You're like, oh, I hated that one. So you just kind of like get emotional and toss it to the side. So get in a rhythm of creating, but then being administratively savvy so that you can go back and be like, wow, I actually have 250 songs and I know exactly when I wrote them. I know,
That's
you know,
huge.
so I think it's so important to put that rhythm in place
Mm,
and have those healthy those healthy rhythms so that we don't fall behind, because it's really hard to go back and be like, yeah, I think I wrote that song one time and
right.
I want to find it. So those are the two big ones.
I like
And
that.
yeah, I think a third would just be to as you said, on the heels of taking yourself seriously,
Mhm.
I think that the third one would be, hey, you're the CEO of your business. Even though you're an artist, you're the CEO of your business. So act like it. And we say that all the time at Produce Like a Boss. So what does that mean? Well, then, you're the CEO of a business. Like, it means I got to do things for real. I got to protect things. I got to take care with all of my assets, not just the building I rent, right?
Mm,
The intangible assets, which are
that's it.
your most valuable. So that's the big one I like to hit home is you are a CEO. You're not just an artist who sings some
Ooh,
songs.
you're saying my language. You said something that's really close to my heart, and that is that if you can see this,
Hmm.
you are an IP company. And you just said it, like you are the CEO of an IP company.
Yes.
And you even said this thing like normalize, like this step is about hygiene and
Hmm.
how step 4,
Yes.
like you just said, you write the song. I don't even know music. So you write the
Yeah.
lyrics, you write the
Yep.
melody, and then boom, you protect it. Um, I think that's so smart. And then just the last little screen here, and I see us collaborating on some of this stuff here in the future. But
Yeah.
yeah, we tell people publish and then protect.
Mm.
Don't be a musician who does publish, promote, and profit. You skip that protect piece, you're in a world of hurt. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. And I think people think that because they published it is protected.
Mm,
Right? Like it legitimizes it if it's on Spotify, if it's on iTunes, like, oh, well, I'm legitimate and that's a huge company. So it's okay. But it's like, well, but that they're not protecting it. They don't
yeah,
care. They're
yeah,
they're making money off you.
exactly. No, you are so onto it. It's in America, it's what's called an unregistered copyright, which again, no timestamp, no smart contract. It's very hard to prove in a court you beat out that other person
Hmm.
when everything can be tweaked. So I agree with you. This was fantastic. Back one more time, producelikeaboss.com. Folks,
Yes.
check it out. Follow Andrea. If you know a musician, tag them, share this because they do not want to find out the hard way. Thanks for coming, Andrea.
Thanks so much for having me.